Good morning, everybody. What's going on? How are we doing today? So, this morning, I want to bring you a little story about True Value. Now, look, this has nothing to do with animals. I know I tell a lot of stories that's got to do with animals and stuff like that, but this one has nothing to do with animals. All right. But here we go. I love my animals, but this ain't an animal story today. So, there was a father and his daughter, and he told her, he said, today, I want to teach you a very important lesson. So he hands her this watch, and it's an old watch. It's ratty and rusty and dirty, and it's just an old watch. And she's like, "Dad, what do you want me to do with this?" He said, I want you to take this watch to school today. Now look, I don't want you to give this watch to anybody, but I want you to ask people how much they pay you for it." So she goes to school with the watch, and she asks a couple people, who she likes watches and stuff, and they tell her, oh, 10, 15, $25. So she comes back home and she tells her dad, she says, "Hey dad, I did what you told me today. And the highest that anybody would offer me for the watch is $10. I mean $25." He said, "Okay, no problem, my love. Tomorrow will be Saturday. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to go downtown to the pawn shop, and I want you to ask the pawn shop how much they'll give you for this watch." So she does it. She goes, she catches the bus, gets off the bus, gets on the train, gets all the way downtown. It's a long trip. So she gets there. She walks into the first pawn shop she gets to, and she asks the storekeeper, "Hey, I got this watch here. How much will you give me from it?" Well, the storekeeper takes the watch. He looks at it. He takes it in the back, and he comes back and he says, "You know what? For you, I'll give you $100." And she's like, "Oh wow, thank you." She takes the watch back. She goes back home, talks to her dad, and she's excited. She's like, "Hey, dad, went to the pawn shop, and the guy offered me $100 for the watch." He was like, "Oh, that's awesome, honey." She was like, "Well, you want me to take it back?" He was like, "No, no, no." He was like, "I need you to do one more thing tomorrow." So the next day rolls around. He says, "Hey, honey, you ready to do the last thing with his watch?" And she says, "Of course, Dad." He says, "All right, I want you to go to the next city over, and there's a watch collector there. All right, he appraises watches. I want you to take it to the watch collector, and I want you to see how much he'll give you for the watch. Don't give it to him, but just see how much you'll give it to him." So the daughter's excited. She gets the watch. She goes over to the next town, very long trip. She gets there. She goes to the watch appraiser and she's like, "Hey, I have this watch here. Would you mind appraising it and telling me how much you'll give me for this watch?" So the watch appraiser, he looks at it and he comes back. He's ecstatic. He has this big smile on his face and everything. He was like, "I'll give you $100,000 for it right now." And the daughter's just blown away. Like she almost gives him the watch, but she remembered what her dad said. Her dad told her not to give the watch to anybody, just see how much it will be appraised for. So she gets the watch. She says, "Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your offer." She goes back home and she tells her dad. She says, "Dad, he offered me $100,000 for the watch." And the dad looks at her with this big smile on her face. And he says, "Look, honey, this is what I wanted you to learn. You have to be in the right place at the right time around the right people for value to truly be appreciated. To get true value, you have to be in the right place at the right time around the right people." He said, "Now, when you took this watch to school, was it really worth less?" She's like, "No, Dad." He said, "When you took it to the pawn shop, was this watch worth less?" She's like, "No, Dad." He said, "When you took it to the watch appraiser, the person that actually understood what the value of the watch was, then you realize what the value was." He said, "Look, honey, here's the thing. You cannot allow anybody to tell you what your value is. Just because somebody doesn't understand the value that you bring to the table doesn't mean that value isn't there. Just because you can't see it or they can't see it, it does not mean the value is not there. You just have to be in the right place at the right time around the right people for value to be truly assessed." All right. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. My brother TPSGL in the house. What's going on? So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna jump off of here. I just want to talk about a little true value today. That's it. And I get it. It's witty. It's true value. But if you're just joining us and you didn't see what we were talking about, go back, take a look at it. I promise you, you'll get something from it. Now, look, you are important to me. You matter. And don't let anybody make you feel as if you're insignificant. If you do, get into the inbox. We here for you. All right. The NCOP Live team is here for you. The Women's Intentional Podcast is here for you. And Let's Talk About It is here for you. Hey, look, don't forget, we got shirts. We finna get these shirts out here. 2022, we gonna get the shirts out here. All right. We gonna get the shirts going and get some folks wearing the shirts and we're gonna post them on the page and all that good stuff. So you will be seeing me in my Let's Talk About It gear, my dang on NCOPD live gear. You're gonna be seeing me in that stuff. And we just, we want everybody to join in and be a part of the family. All right. Now look, life is a choice. I'm depending on you to choose well. I was just signing out. I'll be talking to you soon.